So I've just finished playing Just Cause 3. It took me quite a while, about 3 days of which today I've been playing pretty much the whole day the game. And I gotta say, I did not like it. Overall, I'm not satisfied with the game at all. I really wanted to like it. I was looking forward to it. I was kind of hyped. I've never played any of the previous Just Cause games, but all the the advertisements I've seen in the past and stuff, it looked like a cool game. I thought I'm gonna love it because I have a tendency to generally enjoy this kind of games, but I didn't. But I'm gonna go into a lot of details because there is a reason. Actually, there are many reasons. Now I'll address them fairly here because again, actually, playing games for me is a hobby, but it's also a passion. I love playing games. I think they're art. I think they're entertaining. And I think it's a great way to spend your free time and just, enjoy the games, dream being part of this world, and just, separate yourself from the real life and any kind of stuff that you're dealing with. Games are excellent at that. So I really enjoy them. I give every game a fair chance, and I try to play as many games as I can afford to. And Just Cause was something I was looking forward to, being a AAA title and all. But as I started the game already, I had a feeling that this is not gonna be good. You see, Just Cause 3, sorry, is a horrible console port, and this is really bad. I mean, there are worse. Obviously, there's much worse out there, but there are very few games who are ported so badly in terms of performance. This game is horrible in terms of performance. I haven't seen anything like that. I have 8 gigabytes of RAM, an i5 processor. I have a GPU with 4 gigabytes of RAM on it, and the GPU itself is a Radeon R9 293 XOC, I believe it was. In any case, it's not a bad computer. My computer is something around mid-range, but it's okay. It's the best I can afford, but it still runs most of the games pretty easily on maximum settings, 1080p, without too much of a problem. I get solid frame rates, and usually I'm going between 30 and 60 frames easily on max settings. I played Witcher 3 without any issues on max settings, so my PC can handle it. It's not the fastest PC out there by far. I would love for it to be, but like I said, that's not in the cards yet. But in any case, it's absolutely sufficient to play games and enjoy them. And this game is just horrible. When you start it, you already get a message that you don't have enough RAM. I have 8 gigabytes, so I thought, why not? What's the problem? And the sheer fact that the minimum requirement for the game officially states 6 gigabytes, but the game, when you started with 8, already is telling you don't have enough RAM. You're not gonna have a good time. It's straight out telling you you are going to suffer performance issues or something like that. It was, and why? I mean, on consoles it runs perfectly fine. Both the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 have 8 gigabytes of RAM. So they have as much RAM as my PC, but they run without issues. I started the game obviously maxed out, being a dumbass and assuming that it's going to run. You see, when I am going to play a game, I don't inform myself about it because I don't want to spoil it. I want to just give it a try and build my own opinion. I don't want to be biased and influenced by other things that I might read or hear. Well, as much as possible. Sometimes you can't avoid it, like here the advertisements gave me the feeling that this is going to be an awesome game. So when I started it on max settings, it started, well, it wasn't even frame rating, it was just going crazy. The game would like stop for a second or 2-3 seconds and then would start for 1 second. This was just out of this world. So immediately I went on the internet and read that the game has serious memory leaking issues, etc. And some people are saying no, it doesn't, but again, how can it not have them if 8 gigabytes are not enough? People are talking about insane PC. Someone said that he's got 16 gigs and a Titan, I think in SLI, 2 Titans, something like that, and he cannot make this game run on max settings. He had to go to medium settings. Well, I had to go to medium settings and turn off a lot of stuff that is pretty nice to look at. But okay, it didn't feel like the game was looking bad after all, but even then it wasn't 100% smooth. At times it would still freeze up. It just does its thing. I don't know why. It just eats all your RAM from time to time. To me, it's leaking. But okay, another reason why I thought this would not be good is when I saw that when I went into the settings, this is one of those games that is a port and designed to be used with a gamepad. Not only does it encourage that, but it also, if you use your mouse to navigate menus, you're gonna have a bad time. It tells you to press control to go back, for example. I've never heard of this. Why not escape? Who's ever heard of control to go back? But okay. Anyway, so you fire up the game, you make it work finally, and you notice that the game kind of feels bland. It just, you know, the first missions and everything you do, and you haven't even started the game. It just doesn't captivate you, you know. But okay, many games start off slowly and lame. Now this game obviously doesn't take itself very seriously, so it's going to incorporate more humor, and it's going to be extremely unrealistic, and that's absolutely fine. We have this huge map, and it's a sandbox game. But ultimately what this felt like is a sandbox, and you don't have a shovel and a bucket, you know, you're just sitting in the sand. What are you going to do on your own sitting in the sand? It's not even wet, you can't even shape it. But okay, why am I making this analogy? Well, first of all, there's so many problems in the game. For example, fast travel is not something available to you immediately. You're going to have to do a few missions and unlock it through missions. And then you will have fast travel. So you have this ginormous map, limited mobility at first, and you can't teleport. So that's something. Also, the whole tutorial at the beginning doesn't explain half of the mechanics in the game, at least. Many things I just learned by randomly doing them and then guessing what I did, or reading the loading screens. And speaking about loading screens, you're gonna see quite a few of them. You're gonna see them between videos in the game, even if it's on-game cutscenes. You're gonna see them after you die. You're gonna see them every time you do any kind of race in the game. And I'm not talking like a car race, but the game actually has a very weird leveling system, but I'll come to that. But you're gonna see loading screens, just so get used to it. The loading screens aren't too long, but they come too often, and that's a pain. Now, having such a huge world is something that some people really think is great because it's used as an advertisement point and whatnot, and that's not a good thing, and I'll tell you why. Because when you have a giant world, you can't fill it with things that are interesting for the player. Unless you have several years to make the game and you really have a huge team which is really busy with doing that, and that nobody's ever done that. When you have a ginormous world, you're going to have a lot of vast spaces where there's nothing to do. Which means you will be having your player traversing the map a lot and very slowly usually, unless you figure out a fast travel system that's really good or anything like that. And in such a case, you have to try to make the world vibrant. I personally spoke, for example, I just played Watch Dogs 2 before that, and the map in Watch Dogs 2 was a lot smaller. And I think that was the golden middle. You gotta make the map of the game something that is appropriate for the game. You know, you don't want to make it too big. Making a too big map makes it empty, makes it boring, makes your player drive too long from A to B between missions, and that is not the time where you're usually gonna have fun. You don't need a giant world, but of course we got it here. So, you know, when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. So I tried to make lemonade, and it was not easy. Because in this world, it feels dead. The cities... Okay, so here's what you're gonna do. You have outposts, cities, and those are the two things that you basically have in the game. Then you have like smaller places where nothing's happening, but they're like tombs or shrines that you just find randomly on the map. You can pray at them. And the tombs, sometimes they will drop you a weapon. The shrines, if you do all the shrines, I've read that you will get to fast travel for free, but I don't know, I didn't do all the shrines, I didn't find them. So essentially you just have cities and outposts. And what do? You blow shit up. You go to the city, you blow up the speakers, you destroy the statues of the dictator, you blow up the police, you know, you kill a lot of people. It's extremely repetitive. And not only is it that, but the big problem here is that everything looks the same. The outposts, with a few exceptions, all look the same. They have the same type of containers that you're going to be blowing up, the same enemies. Really, you have like 2 or 3 types of enemies. And then you have a few tanks and helicopters, but that's also something that's not very distinguishable. So, you know, you're going to be dealing with the same type of enemies, the same type of places. And what do you do with those outposts or cities? You liberate them. You go kill everyone, kick ass, destroy certain objects which are hidden throughout the map. Well, they're visible, but they're not always very well visible. You gotta walk around, you gotta look for them. Sometimes they're like on a lower floor or something like that. So you gotta walk around, look for stuff, blow it up, and at some point when you've blown everything up, if you're in a city, you raise the flag of the rebellion and you've liberated the city. If it's an outpost, as soon as you destroy the last objective, you've liberated the outpost and basically taken over it. And you get a reward usually for these things. You get a new weapon, a new vehicle which you can request to have dropped. And these things now, the fast travel and the dropping of weapons, they require special types of flares. And these flares you gotta restock. So even those fundamental things are not for free technically. You can restock them in every settlement that you free, and you're gonna have a lot of them. But it's still annoying. Why should it be this way? Why should I have to go from A to B just to get these stupid flares so I can teleport from time to time? And you don't want to do it because you're already traveling left and right so much that you're just ignoring it. You're like, hell no, I don't want to go there. It's 200 meters, but that's going to cost me a minute to go there, a minute to go back, and then to go to wherever my mission is or whatever I need to do. It takes too long. So it's way too long. You know, this should have not been a thing in the game. Now, I told you that you need to take care of settlements, and these settlements, not all of them are available on your map. Some of the outposts are available in some of the settlements, but I think maybe they weren't from the beginning. Maybe I just passed by for some of the settlements. But they're hidden on the map, so you gotta literally walk around and look for them. And some are really obvious, and you're gonna find them super fast. And some are not, and if you want to liberate the whole region, and you have to in many cases, because your missions will not become available for you before you've liberated a certain amount of stuff, you gotta search like a dumbass until you find everything. So that is absolute bullshit, you know. This shouldn't be the case. They should at least... I mean, I am the most famous fighter in the Rebellion. The Rebellion is organized. They even have tanks later on and stuff. They have good intel, but they don't know where the cities in their own fictional country are. They've been living there all their lives. They've been, you know, oppressed there, but they don't know the cities. They don't know the settlements. This is a tiny place, essentially, if you look at it from a country perspective. It's just an island, essentially, or more like a chain of smaller islands with one big one. But it's just bullshit. Now, you get different vehicles that you can operate. You get ground vehicles, you get water vehicles, you get airborne vehicles, and cars are absolutely useless because the cars require you to drive on streets. Now, the worst thing about the cars is the fact that it feels like there's the gravity on this place, you know, is not like we know it. The cars are kind of floaty, kind of jumpy. The controls are usually really bad. So if you want to drive a car around, well, you're gonna have a bad time. I tried it several times, just like 2 or 3 times throughout the whole game, and I gave it up. I found a F1 supercar, and that was really fun to drive. It's actually quite fast. It accelerates nicely and stuff, and it feels like it sticks to the ground. But it is so low that even if you touch a sidewalk, the car kind of wants to flip and stuff. It goes crazy. So it's not practical. And again, you're gonna have to cover huge distances, so you can't do it. Now, helicopters, jets, this is the way to travel from A to B. This is how you're gonna be taxiing yourself. Unfortunately, the helicopters are very slow. You're gonna have the slower helicopters, which go at around 150 kilometers an hour, and then you're gonna have the bigger and faster one, ironically, which go, when used with turbo and everything, between 200 and 250 kilometers, but usually around 180, 190. So as you can see, this isn't very far. And the weird thing is that some cars can go as fast as that and even faster. So technically, cars are faster than helicopters. Hell, I had a jet, and that jet would only go with 250 kilometers without the turbo boost. And my car was like a sports car that I found was going with 270, so it was faster than a supersonic jet. Okay, don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining about the lack of logic here. When I play this game, I'm not looking for logic or anything that's related to the real world. But I am looking for convenience because they know the people are going to be playing. They gave us a giant map, and now they tell me, okay, you can drive this really fast car there, but you're going to be snaking through the landscape, and the distance, which in a straight line would be 2 kilometers, and is now 5 kilometers. So, you know, you choose either the longer distance snaking and dealing with the little traffic we have, or you take a chopper and fly in a straight line, and the choice is difficult. Now also when you unlock Nitro, and I'll talk about the unlocks in a second, but when you unlock the turbo for cars or for jets or whatever, this turbo, this Nitro, is only available for vehicles you summon. So if you find a vehicle anywhere, that will not have it. I mean, that's logical, but it's stupid. For example, again, look at Watch Dogs and Watch Dogs 2, yeah. As soon as you had the upgrade, any vehicle you took had it available. You know, that was super convenient. Why do I upgrade it? And don't get me wrong, if you want to summon vehicles, first of all, if you forget to restock, you can summon a few times and that's it. Then you gotta go and restock on these flares. Second, summoning is kind of annoying. You gotta press escape. You gotta go into the menu. You know, you gotta select what you want. You gotta click OK. Then your character holds a flare. He has to throw the flare. You have to wait. If you don't have the upgrades for faster summoning, you know, you have to wait like 15-20 seconds until a jet flies by, drops a container opens, and then you have your vehicle. And this can easily, in total, if you're slow, take between 40 seconds and a minute for the whole process, especially at the beginning. And it's in this game, you're already wasting time however you can. I mean, I've read that they even considered at some point to have microtransactions in the game so you can buy stuff, but they opted out of it. I think to myself, yeah, put microtransaction in there and you might as well give the game as freemium, you know, like that crap on mobile phones where you play this game and you have to wait like a dumbass, but you can pay to shorten the waiting time. Because that's essentially what's happening here. You're making me wait way too long. I'm not having fun waiting too long, and you could try to take my money to make me wait less. I mean, if they had played this, they would have seen. I don't understand how this goes through beta testing, but maybe they didn't have enough time. Now, you're going to have a huge arsenal of weapons with which to deal all this havoc, and dealing with the weapons is a mixed bag. You have too many weapons that are straight out useless. You have rifles, which are not sniper rifles, but automatic rifles, which shoot a single bullet. Single fire automatic rifles. Well, it's not automatic then, technically. It just bang, bang, bang. And why? I have to click my mouse like a dumbass. This is a useless weapon, especially in this game where, you know, you want to do as much damage as possible. You want to shit and blow stuff up like crazy. This is just stupid. I don't get it. Then you have to also, I've mentioned already that in order to unlock several missions, you see the missions there, but you can't play it because you have to first free or destroy stuff. You know, you gotta do these liberation missions until you can actually play a main mission. And the main missions have a serious problem. The story missions, first, they're boring. The story is absolutely abysmal. Now, you are part of this rebellion and you're helping them free themselves from this dictator. So far, so good. You know, it sounds like a, you know, okay story when you think about it. But first of all, I don't know, maybe they didn't have enough time or they just didn't care. The missions are very short and the missions are extremely repetitive, first of all. So you're gonna do some kind of mission that requires you to go and blow something up because that's what happens. But okay, that's what the game is about. I'm not gonna fault it for that. That's like saying that you go to play Doom and I complain that you have to kill monsters. I do concede that this is the game, you know, and that's fine. But then at some point, it will tell you, liberate this many provinces, and then you can play this mission. And you're gonna liberate the provinces. And the mission that you play is you have to follow a set of pipes. Because you want to disable some kind of super weapon, the FOV they call it. I assume it means fog of war, but I don't know. And you have to disable this weapon. So you go underground, the door opens, you know, a special type of really big door opens that they hack from, you know, from afar to open for you. You get in there, a few more doors, and then, you know, where you need to press a button to open each door and kill a few guys who are attacking you. And then you reach this one part where there are these huge 3 generators, blow the generators up, another door opens, you escape, and that's that mission. And this exact same story mission you're going to replay, if I'm not mistaken, 3 times. And this is one of the missions that is extremely repetitive, but then there's another one. Now once you've done that, it automatically unlocks the possibility to liberate this whole region, I believe. So what happens is there's a big fight, and you have like this bar where it says rebels and then the oppressing faction on the other side, and they tell you, okay, we're fighting them, go help our guys. And you get, first you're called to, they're like some guys fighting some other guys, you go, you kill the other guys, and then they're like, okay, there's a chopper somewhere else like 2 kilometers away from you killing our guys, go to blow up that chopper. So you're gonna do that. And then there's a third thing, and then once you do that, they're like, alright, we won the big battle, you helped us, and that's it. This you get to do 3 times as well. So these 2 missions that I just described are story missions. They repeat almost identically. The only thing that's different is, for example, where the pipes are at the beginning. Like once you follow the pipes on a mountain path, once you follow the pipes on a flat land, you know, it's just literally the same thing. And the worst part is that they're all together story missions. I'm not 100% certain how many, but I think they were either maybe like between 10 and 12 missions and the game is over. Alright, so that is extremely low, and I might have actually be overselling it because I had the DLCs. I'm going to talk about the DLCs in a moment, but they add additional missions, and they practically maybe add another 7-8 missions, and that's why I'm confused about the story missions. I might even be wrong, and it might be under 10, the missions, and each of these missions is, let's say, maybe 15 minutes at most. That's what you gotta do. You got like 15 minutes story mission, and then you're back to liberating towns and outposts. So that's just crazy, you know, that so few missions, and they were so boring, and they repeat. That is the worst part. Now, freeing towns and these camps and stuff, that's extremely boring too. You're gonna actually be amused by it the first 2 times you do it. The first 2 times you destroy a small town, you liberate a small town, a big town, and then you liberate a big outpost and a small outpost, because you have these varieties. That's it. And then you've seen everything blow up a few times. You've seen everything you have to do in the game. You might as well stop there. That is it. There's nothing more to it. The story missions are just so incredibly boring. I think there were like 1-2 story missions that I enjoyed, because I had to on one ride a rocket, and you don't actually actively get to do anything. It's like a video, but the whole idea is original. And once you ride like this huge plane, so that was kind of interesting. Okay, so another thing that's really curious for me is that there are bugs in the game. And okay, it's a big open world. Bugs are understandable; they can happen, but they're game-breaking bugs. I kid you not. So I reached this one mission where I'm in a jet, and I have to protect another. And this is something you'll be doing a lot. A lot of these missions are gonna be escort missions, because everyone loves escort missions where you have to protect some dumbass. And no matter what you do, sometimes they will die. You won't understand what's happening. And with this jet, other jets are coming, and I have to blow them up and defend another plane that's ahead of me. But my lock-on was not working. And no matter how many times I restarted the mission, the lock-on just wouldn't work. So I had to go on the internet to check what's up. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm going crazy. I mean, the game's been out for a year almost. And yeah, well, what do you think? It appears that this is a game-breaking bug. Apparently, one of the skills that you have, and which skill is that, by the way? It's the ability to aim down your sights. So at the beginning of the game, you can't aim down the sights of the weapon. You have to unlock that as a skill. You can just shoot like basically hip fire. That's all you can do. And but this skill breaks all kinds of lock-on weapons. Until this point, I had just thought that there are no lock-on weapons. I didn't realize that I had such weapons, but they just weren't locking on. I was just firing in a straight line and aiming myself, you know. And you have to disable this thing, restart the game, and then the lock-ons will work until you use it again. So if you want to use lock-ons, you cannot aim down the sights. It's a game-breaking bug. And I'm really curious as to how people found it out. That somebody must have really been disabling his skills and testing. There's so many people complaining about this. How was it not patched? The console guys are saying this doesn't happen to them. So I don't know. That's just yet another great artifact from the awesome port that they did. And I also read some crazy stuff. Some people who are really good at this game actually figured out how to destroy the enemy jets before they break the plane without rockets. They would get out on top of the plane, use a sniper rifle, and shoot the jets with sniper rounds. You know, it took apparently 2 shots with some of the snipers to take him out. So they were doing that. So that's pretty innovative. But when you think how far people have to go to circumvent this game-breaking bug, it's just horrible. And let's talk about the skills in the game, because I mentioned them. Now, one of the things is that in this game you don't level up like in many other games by killing, by destroying stuff. There's no experience per se. Whenever you liberate stuff, you get these challenges, which are like mini games, and there are many of them. You know, they're very different, and you have to do them. And as you do them, you get a score with gears. Basically, imagine like a 1 to 5 star rating, but instead of stars, you have gears. So you have 1 to 5 gears depending on how well you did. And you need a certain amount of gears to be able to unlock certain skills for certain categories. That's it. So if you want to level up, you gotta do the shitty mini games. So that sucks. Now you have the wingsuit, which is a really cool thing altogether, and also the grappling hook and your parachute. These 3 things make you extremely mobile, and that's something that I really enjoyed in the game. But I'll get to the positives in a moment, because I'm not gonna rant about the game the whole time, but I'm going to tell you about what was bad before I move on to the good. So after you do these mini games, which are, by the way, pretty much identical every time in most cases, so get ready to be repeating that stuff too. That's what the game is about. It has 1, 2 concepts, and then it makes you repeat, rinse and repeat over and over again, and that just really sucks. Okay, so since I've already addressed the the grappling hook, the parachute and stuff, let's talk a little bit about the positive stuff, because the game isn't all bad. But before I move on to it, I just wanted to address something quickly that was still negative, because it just came to me now. The story. Now, nobody's gonna buy Just Cause and hope for a great story here. I just can't imagine happening, and I wasn't either. But the story was generally really bad, much worse than I expected. You see, this country, this invented country called Medici, is supposed to be oppressed under the weight of this dictator who is making life hard for everyone. That's why you're rebelling. And you have to first, destroy his position of power, and then you're going to go for him straight. That's a classical thing, we've seen it a million times. Now, what bothers me here is that we almost never see the guy. I think there are like 3 cutscenes with him. In 2 of them, he does the classical sociopath thing where he kills one of his guys, because they failed to do what they were supposed to do. But quite honestly, that just, I've seen this a million times, and this is kind of a cheap way to make me to tell me this guy's really evil. You gotta hate this guy. It's not enough for me. I mean, I go through the whole map, and again, the map is very empty. There are not many cars on the street, especially further on. The cities feel quite empty. There's just people walking around with very bad character models and stuff. Sometimes they'll do something, but there's like a cafe, nobody's sitting in the cafe, But all in all, the cities are just, everything feels dead. It doesn't feel alive. They didn't do a good job in this aspect, as in many others, unfortunately. But it doesn't feel like they're oppressed. They have these cities. They have lots of propaganda in them. They have these speakers that talk about the great leader. They have this police force, which is essentially a military force, stuff like that. But essentially, everyone seems to be free. They seem to be enjoying it. The game is not telling me that this is a shitty place to live. Not only is this country nice and sunny and everything, and I'm fine with that. Obviously, having a dictator is not going to change the weather suddenly. But these people don't look oppressed. They don't look like they're being tortured. There was not a moment where I saw some policemen beating up people. There are like these mini missions. They're not even missions. They're encounters where you walk and you see suddenly 2 policemen with guns talking to some rebels who are arrested holding guns like they're going to shoot them, and you save them, and that's it. Oh, by the way, you get nothing for this. It's just do for fun, I guess. They know that they didn't offer enough content, so they did this. But and this repeats, of course. But my point is, this country does not feel oppressed. Not only that, these people, I mean, some of them have really nice houses. There are a few houses I saw that were really fancy and stuff with swimming pools. especially in the capital city. And it didn't feel like this guy is so bad to the people. I mean, obviously he's a tyrant and stuff, but the country didn't look bad altogether. They have this super powerful resource called Bavarium, and everything turns around it. They use it to make super powerful weapons. It's they want to export it, stuff like that. But oh no, I didn't hate the guy. I didn't feel like he was so evil, you know. I mean, he's obviously evil, but he's not as evil as they try to portray him. So they failed at that. But so let's talk about good stuff again. Enough about the bad for now, at least. One thing that I really liked is that the missions will sometimes give you stuff that you get to keep, not just as a reward after the mission, but sometimes you get an equipment made for missions that you get to keep. And this is actually something that only applies to the DLC, I believe. I mean, in some other missions you get like you have to drive a car, and then after the mission's over, I guess you could keep the car. That's what I did with the F1 supercar, you know. But the DLC missions are awesome. First of all, if you're gonna play this game, get the DLCs. All 3 of them are really good. If you're gonna get one of them, in any case, get the one with the airship that you need to destroy. I forgot the name, because it gives you a very, very improved wingsuit with basically what is a jetpack at the back and weaponry. And this makes the wingsuit into what it was supposed to be from the start. You know, you're no longer going to be trying to grapple somewhere to pull it so you don't, you know, lose altitude and stuff. Now, this thing is fun to use. It was before too, but nowhere near as much. This DLC made it what it was supposed to be from the start, and I can really advise everyone, use the new wingsuit from the DLC. Also, the other DLC that you get gives you a really cool weapon that basically makes you shoot lightning. This weapon is super useful because it has technically limitless ammo. It just recharges, and recharges really fast. And another DLC gives you this awesome boat, which is really powerful, does a great job. And you get to keep them. Like, for example, the special wingsuit that you get to keep it after the mission. You get it for the mission, you don't get it as a reward from the mission, but rather for it, so you can do it's like an experimental thing they let you use, and you keep it. So that's something that I really liked. Another thing that I like about the game is that unlike games like GTA, this game's world is available from the start. So you can go from one end to the other, and there are no restrictions on that. Of course, it won't do you much good because there isn't much to do in this world, and it's not gonna hold too much of an advantage unless you know, for example, which outpost unlocks which weapon or vehicle, and you want to go for that and intentionally do it from the start so you have them. That's something you can do, but it's still good that it is there. The protagonist is another thing that I liked. I like Rico Rodriguez because he's kind of a no bullshit kind of guy. He knows that he's a superhero, first of all, okay? He goes into fights balls to the wall. He says, let's do it, I'm so ready for this, I love explosions. He's going to fight an army and he's like, they have no chance. You know, it's the classical superhero who knows he's invincible and feels that way, and he knows he's gonna kick ass, and he goes and he does it. And also there are a few moments where there's humor, so they try to implement a lot of humor in the game. Unfortunately, most of it just went by me because it wasn't that good, but there were a few moments where it made me smile. Let's not go over the top and say I laughed, but I did enjoy it to that effect. So Rico Rodriguez definitely was a cool character. I like his accent. I'm not sure what this Medici country is supposed to be. Are they kind of Italians or are they more Spanish? I mean, Medici and stuff sounds Italian, but then they speak something that doesn't sound quite Italian to me. It sounds more Spanish, but I might be wrong. Correct me if I am. None of these two languages are languages that I am aware, that I speak natively or in any other way. So I can't actually judge it. It's just more like from movies. But in any case, I liked him. I think he's cool. The side characters mostly were extremely boring and lame. His buddy, who's supposed to be like a comic relief character, Mario, unfortunately he's not funny. That's the truth of it. They really tried hard to make him the funny guy who's supposed to make us laugh. All the jokes are extremely cheesy and lame. He's not funny. He doesn't look funny. He does stupid stuff. He's more like the retarded neighbor's brother. who, you know, nobody wants to talk about after they seen him. You know, you smile at his joke because you want to be polite, but that's it. So I didn't like him, and most of the other characters, the scientist who's like an introvert, is Dima is her name. I don't like her either, although she's kind of funny, but she never made me laugh or smile really. I think there was one time, but I can't remember what it was. But in any case, I didn't like her either. None of them. Annika, the you know, the American who's giving him information. Annika, the Swedish chick with a black assistant that she has, or like buddy. I'm not sure. They're mercenaries. I don't know how their hierarchy is. They never explain it. But none of the characters. It's just Rico. Rico was the only one I liked. He was cool. His voice lines are okay. Sometimes they're funny, but he's kind of a cool guy. So it appealed to me. I like that. And now another thing that I liked, which was very unusual, maybe the first time I've ever seen this, is that this game, and this might be a result of the porting, but this game uses caps lock. When you press caps lock, you pull out these special C4 like devices that you can place and blow up remotely. I have never seen a game actually utilize caps lock for anything. It's the most useless key on my keyboard, and I like the fact that I got to use it in the game. It's just weird, and it just felt like, okay, I'm using caps lock. That's cool, you know. It's actually useful for something for once. So that was something that I enjoyed. Another thing that I valued in this game is that the checkpoint system was very fair altogether. Most of the time when you die and you're trying to take over something, the stuff that you've already destroyed there, because destroying stuff is essentially the milestone that's gonna make it possible for you to take over a settlement or a city. So, you know, after you die, everything that you've destroyed is still there, is still destroyed, sorry. So you don't have to do it over again, and you spawn right in front of the city or whatever it is that you are. So in very rare occasions it spawned me somewhere far, and it wasn't too far, but I don't know why it did that. Yet still, I found it very fair. Very few times that I have missions where I had to replay some part that is somewhat bigger if I died, but that was extremely rarely. So the checkpoints are really fair. You're gonna die quite a few times because Rodrigo, Rodrigo, that's not his name. In any case, the protagonist is a very, very strong character. He can take a beating, and it makes you feel almost invincible. 100 people shooting at you, he doesn't give a fuck. He shoots them back, and he doesn't die easily. At some point, there are these Bavarium nukes that are shot at you. And this is quite unfair because it's basically like they're not even lock on. It's just like they instantly hit you when it declares that it has a lock. And he survives 2 of them. So I'm going to assume that Bavarium nukes are weak compared to real nukes. But again, Rico is really strong and he can take 2 of them before he dies. So that is quite impressive. But yeah, that's something that I like. The fair checkpoints were great. Now, all in all, after I've played this game, now I'm usually a completionist at heart. I will try to do as much as I can of a game. I'll try to find secrets. I will try to do everything that is expected of me. And in this case, I freed the whole country. There was no settlement left unfreed, you know, unliberated. This took an incredible amount of time. And at first, at some point, I was like, fuck this. I'm not doing this. It's too much work. It's not fun at all. But then I found myself coming back to it because missions forced me to do some of it anyway. And then you would liberate, for example, 3 out of 5 cities in that region. You're like, oh, fuck it, let's liberate the other 2 and have it become green instead of half red and stuff. It just disturbs me. So I went and liberated the whole place. I got nothing for that. Well, you know, I didn't get a weapon or anything else. Well, outside of the individual rewards, of course. But it just, it was not fun. I'm having a hard time. You see, there are some people who really love this game. I've read about it. The ending of the game was super abrupt. You almost don't do any missions, like I said, and people start, you know, stuff starts happening around you that's supposed to, I guess, emotionally affect you, but you don't care about anyone because you've barely met these characters. They mean nothing. The only one I cared about is Rico. Rico obviously survives and is unharmed, and you know, it's a happy end for him, I guess, and for everyone. But still, the game ends super fast. Before it's even started, suddenly it's ended. It feels like all of a sudden. It made no sense to me. And then I read on forums and people are like, oh yeah, but you can collect all these audio cassette tapes and you can listen to them. I had like 3 or 4 of them where different people talk about stuff. And usually it's the antagonist who talks about how he rose to power and stuff. And they're like, that's where most of the story is. So I have to go through one of the biggest maps in the game or follow a guide in order to collect these stupid tapes, in order to be able to hear what's happening. This is just bullshit. Just show me the damn story. Now, sometimes the game will give you in-game cutscenes, which I find are, well, they're actually with the in-game engine. And sometimes there are these comic-like cutscenes, which I guess are fine, but I found it weird that sometimes you get this and sometimes you get that. You know, I just don't know why they went with that. I don't know if that saved them money or it was more expensive. I can't tell. And just yet another thing that feels very random and strange. That's all. I just didn't get the point of it. But as the game ended, you get to make a choice, and I'm gonna spoil this for you guys here. So if you don't want to hear about the ending, where, you know, in a game where you're trying to defeat a dictator, and if you have no idea what could happen at the end and you don't want to be spoiled, stop the video now. We're almost at the end anyway. But if you are ready to listen, I'm going to tell you what happens. So you got 3 more seconds. 1, 2, 3. Okay, you're still here. So this is what happens. You get to fight the guy, and it's a super anticlimactic fight. Easy, short. And don't get me wrong, I don't need a challenge, but they could have made it original. It's literally you versus the chopper, and you got to take down a chopper. The chopper has an invincibility shield most of the time, and you can only shoot it once the shield goes down. And that's it. You just wait and then shoot. You don't have to go to use a special weapon for it, or fight in a base where you use some kind of machinery or use some kind of trick. No, you just wait for the shield to go down occasionally, shoot at him, and then continue on until he drops. And once he drops, there's a monologue, and you get to either press the left mouse button to shoot the guy, or you get to wait and wait and wait, and then he's gonna suicide at the end, and the game's over. But again, this happened so abruptly. I just expected this, and there are other questions unanswered as well. There's so much in this game that it feels like it's rushed. It feels like they ran out of time or money, or they didn't care. I do not know which one of these. But ultimately, here's my verdict. I obviously did not enjoy the game. I'm not gonna lie to you. I did not like it. I didn't have. I would say I had about 20% fun and 80% was just felt like work, and I was mostly doing it for this review really at some point. I feel like this game was a waste of money, and I cannot recommend it. If you're gonna play the DLCs as well. Get them. They are worth it. They're actually the only missions that are fun, and the rewards are actually good for them, and they change the game positively. So go with the DLCs first and then everything else. And but I don't advise it. I don't advise you get the game. I don't advise you play the game unless you really like the game. Some people have enjoyed it, so it's a lot of them have complained about many things that I've addressed here. So this isn't just me. It's something that others have experienced too. But some people just like a mindless game. Also, I did not like Doom. I didn't like the latest Doom either, simply because it was just shooting arena after arena. But that's a topic for another time. My recommendation is do not buy this game. It is not good. I did not enjoy it. And if you want to try it, or if you have tried it, I'd love to hear about your experience. Maybe you saw it differently. Maybe for you the game was more fun. It could be. Maybe I'm just too picky with this, I guess. Although I usually am very generous with these games. So at this point, after this super long review, if you're still here, I would love to thank you for watching this video and sticking to it till the very end. I hope you give the other ones a chance. There's some of them that don't suck, and probably some that do. So we can't all be perfect. Look at this game. It's the best example for that. So again, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy the games that you play as much as I usually do, and I hope you didn't waste your money like I did on this one. Have a great day.